Everything you always wanted to know about ghosts but were afraid to ask. When it comes to ghosts, there are believers and non-believers. Wherever you stand, you have to admit that the thought of life after death is pretty cool. But how much do you really know about the spirit world? Read on for answers to some of the most common questions about ghosts. So what is a ghost anyway? A ghost is simply the spirit or soul of a person who has died but hasn't made it to the other side. In other words, it's caught up between this world and the next. Ghosts are made up of energy, and they exist without a physical body. They are often the spirits of people who died suddenly and were not prepared for death. Sometimes ghosts appeared to warn or guide family members to share in happy times. Why can kids see ghosts more easily than adults? Children are more sensitive to seeing spirits for many reasons. First, they are generally more open-minded and willing to accept things that are new and different. Also, spiritually speaking, children are more closely connected to their heavenly origins than adults, and adults may not want to admit that they saw a ghost for fear of being ridiculed. Can ghosts cross water? Some people may disagree, but the short answer is yes. In fact, most experts think that ghosts are actually attracted to water. After all, spirits are made up of energy, and nothing conducts energy better than water. That's why a lot of paranormal activity takes place on and near bodies of water. Can ghosts really float above the ground? Yep, like we said, ghosts are made up of energy, and experts in the ghost hunting business believe that the spirit world works a bit like electricity. Ghosts appear to float because when they touch the ground, they are absorbed by the earth. That doesn't mean that all ghosts float through the air. Some seem to be walking without their feet touching the ground. Can ghosts attach themselves to people? Definitely. Some spirits remain earthbound because they have unfinished business here. They are usually drawn to specific locations, like places where they lived, worked, or died. They may also be attracted to people who cause them to feel strong emotions, either good or bad. Sometimes a ghost will even attach itself to a stranger because that person can see or hear it. But that connection usually only lasts until the spirit's earthly issues are resolved and it crosses over to the other side. So don't worry, the chances of a ghost stalking you are pretty slim. How do ghosts move things or mess with electrical devices? Ghosts use energy, both their own and borrowed power, to move objects, make noises, play tricks, and get people's attention. Spirits can also gather extra fuel from electronic and battery-powered objects. It takes a lot of energy for spirits to get our attention, so they need to stock up on fuel in order to make their presence known. That's why at haunted places, fully charged batteries sometimes die really quickly, and other electronic equipment goes berserk, like the TV turning on by itself at a really high volume or the lights flickering on and off. Where is the best place to see a ghost? Ghosts can be found just about anywhere, but they seem to like hanging out at cemeteries, old houses, battlefields, hospitals, colleges, and restaurants. Happy hunting. The Cave of the Murderous Witch. There have been ghostly encounters in almost every small town in the world, but Adams, Tennessee might be the only place where a ghost was held responsible for the death of a human being. Meet the Bell family. In 1817, John Bell Sr. was inspecting a field on his farm in northern Tennessee. That's when he came across a strange beast that he described as dog-like with a rabbit-like head. When John shot at the creature, it ran into the woods. A short time later, the Bell family started to experience odd things in their home. It started off as soft knocks, but soon it sounded like an animal was biting or gnawing on the house. The Bell family searched the building for mice, but they found nothing. Next, they heard what sounded like rocks hitting the house, and then it sounded like rocks were being thrown from inside the house. Once again, the family's searches turned up nothing. John Bell and his youngest daughter, Betsy, were also attacked by an unseen force. Betsy was frequently pushed, grabbed, and slapped by the invisible intruder. John Bell asked his neighbors if they had any ideas about what was occurring. The neighbors spent some time in the Bell home and witnessed the unusual activity themselves. They suggested conducting an investigation. John Bell reluctantly agreed, and several friends were invited over. The investigations begin. When the investigation began, thumping sounds were heard throughout the house. Soon the thumps and groans began to sound like someone growling or clearing his or her throat. And then it happened. The creature began to speak. It said that it wanted to stop Betsy Bell from marrying a local boy named Joshua Gardner. It also said that it wanted to kill John Bell. When asked why it wanted to break up Betsy and Joshua and kill John, the voice remained silent. But one night, the voice said that it was the spirit of Kate Batts, a neighbor who had disliked John Bell because of his unfriendly business dealings between them in the past. Whether or not it was actually the spirit of Kate Batts is unknown, but people began to refer to the entity as Kate. Kate liked to have long discussions with those present. She would often quote from the Bible, which was a rather odd thing for an evil spirit to do. She also seemed to know exactly what people were doing at any given time, even if they were miles away. Soon word of the Bell Witch spread throughout the area, and people came from all over to witness it. One legend states that when General Andrew Jackson and his men passed through the area, the future president decided that he wanted to hear Kate for himself. But the witch caused Jackson's wagons to stop right at the Bell property line and wait more than 30 minutes before she allowed them to continue. When Jackson's party got to the Bell home, the witch cried out that there were 2 frauds in Jackson's group and that she would expose them. But Jackson and his men left quickly the next morning without finding out who the frauds were. Jackson later declared, "I'd rather fight the entire British Army than deal with the Bell Witch." The torment continues. The activity at the Bell House went on for almost 3 years, and even though Betsy was under constant attack, John Bell was the main target of the witch's abuse. From time to time, John would fall deathly ill. Sometimes his tongue swelled so badly that he could barely speak or swallow, and no medications helped. After some time, John would simply recover and seem fine, until the next time that he would be stricken with a mysterious illness. All the while, the witch would laugh and taunt John, claiming that one day she would kill him. On December 20th, 1820, John Bell was found dead on his bed. Next to his bed, his family found a new medicine bottle that contained a mysterious liquid. John's son stuck his finger in the bottle and then got a cat to lick the substance off. The cat died almost immediately. At that moment, it became clear to everyone that the witch had poisoned John Bell. When John was laid to rest in the family cemetery, some people reported hearing the Bell Witch laugh out loud at the fact that she had succeeded in her mission to kill him. Unfinished business, but Kate's work wasn't done. She continued to focus on breaking up Betsy and Joshua Gardner. Finally, in the spring of 1821, Betsy ended the relationship. After that, the Bell Witch left, but she promised to return in 7 years to check up on the family. According to legend, Kate did return in 1828. At that time, she visited the home of John Bell Jr. She apparently stayed for several weeks and had many casual conversations with John Jr., but she refused to explain why she had killed John Sr. or why she wanted to break up Betsy and Joshua. Before Kate left again, she promised to return in 107 years, but 1935 came and went without the Bell Witch making an appearance. Or maybe she never really left the area. Down into the cave. A large cave is located on the former property of John Bell. Many people believe that the Bell Witch hung out in this cave when she was not actively haunting the Bell family. Others believe that the cave represents some sort of portal or entrance through which she would travel between this world and the next. These days, the cave is open for tours. It is still a hot spot for supernatural activity. People have witnessed strange sounds, moving shadows, and eerie mists that appear in photographs. So if you're looking for a chance to encounter a murderous spirit, stop by the Bell Witch Cave. But beware if your last name is Bell.